Hello, hello, it's been a while. We've made a little bit of progress. Last episode I talked about the lighthouse we made and showed off a bit of the ice course we're working on. Well, it's actually done now. I spent a lot of time working on stuff on stream, so be sure to go check me out over on Twitch and here on YouTube to see all the action live. We'll start here with some updates to Turtle City. We've opened up the gazebo here where we had bred the turtles initially and we're collecting all the scute underneath here, but we don't really need it for much of anything and have more than enough already. So we opened it up, and now the turtles are just kind of free to go into the water here. You also may have noticed we've done some stuff with the armor stands, and I had a little piglin here doing some fishing with a cooler next to him where he can keep his fish. And diving in, we can see that we've done a little bit more work here. We've got the jellyfish, of course, but I finally finished up all these pathways, pairs of 2 socks, and I added this starfish sort of central plaza in here. And it's still not totally done, but as a whole, pretty happy with how it came out. It's a nice pretty area to just hang out and even AFK in. With the conduit here, we can breathe and see just fine, so we can hang out and be one of the turtles. And of course, also on the beach, along with some new 1.21 stuff going on, we've got the dogs, only a few of them so far. I'm working on collecting all the different kinds, but we've got the pale dogs right here, all of our default ones, and I've got a couple other, the woods ones, and these are... oh, I don't remember, but they look like huskies. And well, as you saw at the beginning, we got ourselves a mace, and some wind charges, which have been super fun. You're going to be getting a mix of old and new footage today as I catch up on things, but hopefully videos are going to be coming out more consistently soon. Here's the pandas. We haven't been over here in a while. I think there's a few pandas that have been waiting for us. Pandas. Because the way it works... oh. Panda lesson time. Okay, this guy's interrupting my lessons. As I was saying, pandas, you know what, I should pull up the info for this. Every panda has 2 genes. The dominant gene and the recessive gene. Depending on the combination, it'll show up as a different kind of panda. Normally, with some mix of genes, they'll show up as some kind of panda. But weak pandas are the only ones that show up if both the dominant and recessive genes are weak. So getting a big pool of them, you can kind of be sure that you know what you've got. Because in terms of mutating the genes, the one it's most likely to, although it's still not that much more likely to than the others, is the brown panda gene. So, if you breed a bunch of the weak pandas together, any of the babies that aren't weak pandas have a mutated gene, and it might be a brown gene. So it could be a weak gene and a brown gene, but it could also just be a weak gene and anything else. But then you breed these guys together, and when one has a brown gene and another brown gene, then it will be brown. But once we've got a pure brown one, we could in theory just start breeding brown ones together again, and just get a bunch of brown ones. So instead of having them all like this, I'm going to flatten this, make it so that all the babies will just fall through into a different group, and then I can sort them from there manually a lot more easily than trying to pick out babies in the group every time I breed up a bunch of them. But first, I've been meaning to get another beacon for projects like this, so we're gonna do that. We've got 3 skulls now. You know what comes next. Oh. Ow. Here we go. Oh. Die! 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 Get him out of here. One more. Let's go! Nether star. Alright. Beacon is made. Let's dig this out. Well, no success yet. I have my old, stock here that is like regular pandas, but I think I've kind of cross-contaminated them, so I need to get some fresh ones anyway. But this will be just sort of a work in progress as we go. So for now, we'll leave this be, but we'll be back to it, I'm sure. We have been assigned something else to work on in here, though. Lexicon's castle here is coming together, but in the basement, there are these sort of maze-like areas that he's designing down here. We're gonna use the castle a lot for hide and seek, manhunt, and the like, so he wants to make it a little bit maze-like and add some weird rooms like this that he has. So we've been given a bit of space here and told to kind of just do whatever we want with it. And I've made some plans already in creative mode. So I think I'm gonna bring them over here and we can get started on gathering materials and building this place right up. Gonna be a secret room in there. Alright, I've gathered up the material and I've started building, but I'll put the rest of this together in a time lapse. See you there. Still got some more decorating I'm gonna do. Maybe put like some stuff up on the shelves with the new fancy armor stand stuff that we've got. But it's just some bunks, nothing crazy. Except if you interact with this barrel over here, this door opens up into the map room. We've got the whole castle here and just kind of the surrounding areas. A few paintings, some other stuff, and a little bit of a way back. You can just hit a button down here and it'll open the door back. But if you've got a keen eye, you might notice a little something strange down here that actually takes us into this water maze. It's pretty dark, but that's also kind of the point. The lights like pulse on and off, and it's pretty easy to get lost in here, at least for a little bit. Especially if you don't know where you're going. Also, if I don't have the respiration on, getting through it is pretty much just about as long as it takes for the air to run out, with a little bit of fussing here and there, because the character like automatically stands up in certain segments when you touch the floor. But I only had 2 bubbles left there, so if you didn't know where you were going, you can definitely take some damage in there, which might make the difference in a manhunt type situation. Future PsiVolt here, also inside the castle. Lexicon has made some changes since last time, and has actually completed the structure. But they're going to be gone for a while, so they've left me to do the interior. So we've got a lot of work cut out for us, and there's plenty of space to work with. The basement down here where we were working is pretty much sealed off now. All of the roofs have been filled in, there's tunnels down all the way through here without exposed areas in the back of the castle, and we can get our way all the way out to the back. And we've got plenty of space to do some decorating. Oh, it's raining. But with the room finished, I thought I'd show off the final designs. We've got some armor stands set up. I can pose them and make them invisible to do things like this, and hide a broom in the closet. And we've done a little bit more decorating in the map room as well. Let me just open up the secret door here. And we put some maps on the wall, got some armor stands holding stuff. This is kind of the planning room. A little boat in the water here, some foreshadowing. But otherwise, we've been left this castle in pretty much a blank canvas state, so I'm excited to see what more we can do with it. Be sure to share some ideas in the comments if you've got anything fun. Some of you may know we play pretty casually on the server. Some people basically have asked to have keep inventory on, so we have it on, but a couple of us don't really care either way, but I'd rather have it off. So I found this great mod that's literally just individual keep inventory. And you can actually set the default to be whatever you want. It just totally overrides the game rule stuff. And, you know, I haven't actually tested mine, but you can set the individual players just like this. So let's make sure that my keep inventory state is set to true. And then we can do a pretty quick test, I think. That should be good. Alright. Keep inventory. True. Still got everything. I'm gonna lose all these levels, but I've been wanting to turn off keep inventory for a while, and I can't believe it took me this long to actually find this mod that does quite literally exactly what we want. Here we go. Same command as before, but we'll set it to false. Oh. Here we go. I lost all my levels, I lost all my stuff. Hooray! Hooray! This is what dying's supposed to look like. Well, look at that. My inventory hasn't been this disorganized in ages. Haha! I'm on a copy of the world here, doing some experimenting with the snowman area here in the ice boat course. And came up with a bit of a design for this guy. Pairs of 2 Socks and I were messing around a bit as well. He suggested throwing some calcite onto it. I think that looks pretty good. We'll figure out how to texture it in there after the fact. And, well, we had some creeper incidents. It's really strange to just see all these idiots gang up on him and then he just blows them all up. Although, oh god, oh, they're, oh. Oh, he almost had his opportunity. Oh! Oh! Oh no, don't go to him! Don't go towards him! No! No. What? Another one just happened. So this is the design, more or less, that we'll be copying over into the iceboat course on the server. So I've been busy here on the server with a little snowman friend in here. You just stand right up against this. Start digging the snow, and then if you press F3 and T to reload the textures, you can just let go of the mouse, and it'll keep clicking for you. Just be careful that your tool doesn't break, and then you end up needing to make yourself a new netherite shovel. But it all collects up in here. I'd use the double hopper so that it doesn't get clogged, and then you just turn them all into blocks. And more blocks, and more blocks. I think this is enough to get started, at least. So we're here in the mouth of the beast at nighttime for reasons I'll explain in just a second, but I've got to show this off. I learned that you can build snowmen not only like upside down, but sideways. You can build them sideways. You can build them, you can build them, you can build them upside down. Same with iron golems. You can put them in like whatever orientation, as long as they're the right shape, they'll just work. And these guys should just stay in here. I lit it up so nothing should pathfind off, and we're gonna get our first look of it with all this glow lichen and stuff laid out on it. Let's see. Ooh, okay, okay. I haven't gone through with the calcite yet, but really, let's get to the important view, you know. Well, while I'm doing this, I'll explain my theory here. It's nighttime. There's a bunch of mobs that are spawning inside of the big snow guy because I sort of didn't light it up as I was building, so it's just dark. But now that it's nighttime, I'm gonna unload the area, and we'll come back to it. Hopefully, more mobs will have just spawned around the world that less will be inside of him. Oh yeah, that looks great. Yeah, this is the important view. That's pretty cool. Alright, let's get in there quick. Alright, how bad is it? How bad is it? Oh, I think my theory was right. Things have already spawned elsewhere. Let me light things up and then get the heck out of here before, yeah, like a creeper goes off. Or worse. Oh, or I'll just trap the creeper down there. Perfect, perfect. Alright, get these torches down. Get these torches down. We gotta remove every spawning spot possible. Wait a second, I have a tool for this. I'm panicking. I'm panicking. Okay, I think we're good. At least to stop panicking. Oh, ow. That could have gone a lot worse. Clean. I'm thinking we'll throw the calcite on here and see what we think about it. Let's throw some calcite up on the top and get a little texturing going on. Alright, we're coming around the bend. We're taking the boat course just to see what it actually looks like from where you'll be coming in. And oh yeah, that's awesome. The warning sign and everything. Yeah, I think the calcite is some good texturing on him. He's got some buddies that he's chasing away here. But I think that works pretty well. He maybe has a good side, but he honestly doesn't really look bad. He's just facing all the snowmen that he's, well, chasing away, I guess. I like him. I also put a couple snowmen in here just to, you know, that he captured within his jaws, myself included. We're here at the starting line. I've got a design for, well, an actual starting line, as well as a timer that'll keep track of how long it takes us to go around the course, and probably gonna add a mob switch too, just to make sure nothing spawns, but we'll do that later. Well, we've made a lot of progress, and I'm not sure if it's a work in progress anymore. It might be pretty much done at this point. This is the starting line here. I've got a little setup and some redstone. You can take a little peek behind the scenes, but it's kind of messy, so don't look too closely. There's a chunk loader back there too, though. That's important later. But what's important here is this hopper with the redstone block beneath it. With the block there, it's locked, so items don't flow through it. But when I press this button, it'll start the timer. Pull the block away, items can flow through. Then when you go on the tripwire, it stops it. And we can get our time. The number of items divided by 2.5, because it's 2.5 items per second that go through a hopper, because it takes 0.4 seconds to go through an item. Or to put the item into a container. You do that to get your time in seconds. And then you just do the math to get the actual time, roughly, because it's going to be rounded to the nearest 0.4 seconds. But that's the record I've set. So let's see it in action. This is empty down here, and then this is the reset barrel. So we press the button. I need to work on the timer, because it's a little bit long. I'd like to make this more like 10 seconds. And the gate's all open. at the same time. It's great. And then on the reset, there's a little memory still in there. So it does have to go through the music sequence again, but it's a much shorter countdown. Yeah, you can see, and then it just closes right away. But I wanted to leave the gates open so that you could do a lap, in theory, and then just keep going if you wanted to just do multiple of them, and you'd probably be timing it yourself at that point. I didn't actually show it working. You start it. There we go. Once the gate opens, timer starts and items start flowing through here. And then when you step on this, or go over it in your boat, stops it. And then you just put everything back up top. But aside from all this, I've also been working on a little bit of a boat lodge, as opposed to a ski lodge, I guess. Got this whole building done up here on the hill, but the interior still needs a little bit of work. That's what all this is for, though. So we're gonna get into building it. Be sure to tune into streams to see me do stuff like this live. 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern Time. It's done. This is the whole exterior. Looks pretty good. We got some nice big windows to see inside, and, well, a nice wall on the back there for where something's going to go on the inside. Coming up from the path, we just got this little balcony up front into the main entrance. It's all carpeted up, but the main feature here is going to be a little leaderboard for who's got the top times on the track. We'll keep a book in here to keep track of all that, and a second book for reverse lap times, I'm thinking. That way we can keep track of both of them, because I designed the course to be able to go backwards around it too. We've got some lockers over here, just some place to sit, you know, store your stuff, get your gear on, everything you need to. Some more space just to hang out, eat some food, whatever. A repair shop back here. I'm gonna do some more decorating still, but you see I got the invisible armor stands already set up with some chains there. You can talk to this guy about fixing up your boats or renting whatever you want. We've got a selection for all the different kinds of boats or rafts. What we also still need to do is make the redstone system. That this is going to be a quote-unquote rental, where you press the button here. It's gonna send a signal down to the start of the course, and the boat is actually gonna launch out onto the ice in the starting area there. Moving upstairs, we've got a little water elevator that takes you up here. We'll step outside. A nice view if you want to catch the start of some races and see people whizzing by as they do their laps. It's a good spot to view from. Got the nice frozen ocean out in the distance, and you can even see the end of the course as people come through. We get a good view of that as well here inside the window. But also up here, we've got a little coffee and tea, hot cocoa, cookies kind of thing. I'm working on the menu still, and same here. I'm going to throw some more stuff up on the shelves there and do a little bit more detail work. We've got some tables here where you can enjoy the concessions and have a look at let's turn on Lightmatica here. Well, what's going to be the map of the course. This is the creative world where I did the design for everything, but this is the map as it stands. We're gonna fill in all of these ones as well, just to get a more complete picture of it, but I needed to do this at least, just to figure out the size for it. But it looks awesome. There's the lodge up here, going all the way down and around. You can even see the speed boosts, and where all the signs are, because it's literally 1 pixel on here is 1 block. So it's very cool actually getting to see the whole course like up to date with all of our little additions, and this is going to be our next step in the actual lodge, so we'll get on that pretty shortly. I realized I didn't even talk about the chunk loader back there. So this timer, it works, but you saw how big the map is. We're gonna get out of render distance, but we've got the chunk loader in there that turns on whenever the gates open so that it stays loaded and keeps track of the time. And you may have noticed in the background some signs hanging up. I found a design that I liked online and did something similar. So we've got these laid out around the course, and I put some campfires up above there. They actually go through trapdoors, so you can just put it on top of there like that. I've done some changes around the course and pretty much cleaned everything up at this point. We've done some laps and logged some times, but I'm going to do a slow lap through and talk about all the changes we've made. I'll show off the final state of the lodge and the map up above, and we'll do a final full lap at full speed to wrap things up for today. We've also got a great mod called Beer, or Block Entity Extended Rendering, so we can actually see the banners from much further away, so you can see the alerts from down the course. I'm not timing anything here, so we can just let ourselves through. That'll fix itself later. But at the start here, just kind of clean things up, and this is actually all natural just because of the way the biomes have generated. It's just water in some places, but I've got soul sand here and around the course, as you can see where all the bubbles are. It'll pop you up a block into the air, so you can just get right back onto it, no problem. Coming around the first bend, we've got a speed boost here, some blue ice on the track. Actually gives you a little bit of a boost while we're going around. And a sign there to warn you of the U-turn. I tried to place the signs at sharp turns and areas that had obstacles just to warn people. Coming around a bit of a wider turn here, I decided to put the speed boost on the inside to make it a bit more tricky, and that's kind of the ideal line going through here, which we did not hit. The mine carts will kind of stop you, and in theory they can catch the boat. They'll get stuck a lot, but the ones that have the pillagers in them won't be able to catch the boat, so they just kind of serve as sort of boulders. But normally, yeah, minecarts can pick up boats, and we've got activator rails at the end to force the player to get dropped off. I do have to come through and reset it if it gets really stuck like that, but normally it doesn't get too bad. And, well, we've seen this guy up ahead, but there's a bit more to him. I put some snowmen in the area, and they're all full of powdered snow, so they kind of bring you to a pretty good stop if you run into them. So that first one, even going through at full speed, basically brought me to a stop. But I've got this area here that's a bit more sparse with snowmen, so it's a bit of a wider turn, so it'll be longer, but there's less likelihood of actually hitting any snowmen. Don't worry, fixing minecarts. We've got a little stint through the woods here, gets a bit narrow, and I carved this part up, so there's actually a bit of a tunnel to go through. And you'll see here, this underpass is, well, for the loop. I actually made it go all the way around here, and I love this whole course, but it's awesome that so much of it is natural. I had to fill in some of the edges here, and you can see some of the water there. Probably used to be big enough for the boat to fall in, but there's natural igloos along a lot of the course, and we've got their little classic slime launchers. I've shown these off before in shorts before. It's just some slime blocks around it, in this case to slow the boat down a bit, but some ice under the water to protect all the redstone. It's nothing more than just some redstone dust around a sticky piston. It's pushing a slime block, some blocks that it won't stick to, and some pressure plates. We can actually go on it ourselves if we line ourselves up right. And it works pretty well with the boats. It launches us high enough onto here so we can just keep going and head right over the edge. It's also possible to go backwards through here. I set up some powdered snow, so you can even sneak in through here. It's a bit more effective when you're going at speed, but you could, in theory, use it as a shortcut, coming through normally as well, if you can even spot it. I actually already... Which one is it? It's that one. It's this one. Coming through a bit more of a straight area, we get to that frozen ocean where I've done a lot of carving up. This area here, I've snaked a little path through so you can take a bit of a shortcut. And this I've almost totally flattened. I've added a bunch of ice pillows around the place, so it's a bit tougher to navigate. But there is a little bit of a path through here, with the risk of kind of drifting out into the water. But a lot of this on the edges I was able to leave and just put soul sand in so we could get through. You can take the longer path around, but it's pretty much always faster to go through the tunnel there. And then I just made it so you can go straight through here. The polar bears and going all around that was a bit too awkward. And this way we can sort of snake on either side of this little lake here. I put a speed boost here. And then a warning, because we've got some fishermen. Well, for one, we've got the dog sleds here going across. They're, you know, going out gathering their stuff for the village. We've got a little snowy village here, just kind of out on the river. Well, we can just go right through here, and then a bunch of guys ice fishing. Using the invisible armor stands, I was able to set up some fishing rods, so they kind of look like they're holding them. They're more so just mounted in the chairs, but that's also pretty standard for ice fishing. Got a little campfire here on the ice for them to hang out at, and because it's soul campfire, it won't actually melt any ice. All the soul torches, soul campfire, regular soul fire doesn't melt anything, unlike regular fire. And a little just sort of ramshackle fishing hut here, just sort of put together with a bunch of different materials, old fishing rod hanging up, and the cooler to store all the stuff. I've also totally failed to mention the boat hut that's been on screen this whole time. It actually tracks our speed, the angle we're facing, it gives us a readout of the G's, which isn't as important, but we've got an input display, so you can see when I'm pressing left and right, as well as forward and backwards there on the bottom. We've got a narrow bit coming through there, and I was able to get through that pretty clean. But coming through here pretty much brings us towards the end of the lap. Some narrow passages here, and actually we're gonna pass another igloo soon enough. And there's the other igloo with a little bit of a lava obstacle there. Most of this was just natural, which was great. Most of the cleanup I had to do was just filling in some gaps on the side. And then to wrap things up here, we've got a tunnel to go through, some snow just to slow you down to make that a bit easier. And we're out. That's the course. And the final piece of the puzzle here is the lodge. And, well, the rental boat launcher inside of it. And I've set up this path going back up and down to the lodge. I kind of like that it actually can get snow on it. So we gotta come through and manually clean it. As it doesn't get too bad, and I'm not hanging out in the area a ton for it to get totally snowed over, but I think it makes it feel a bit more lived in. And, well, aside from the path itself, we've finished up decorating in here. Mostly a lot of stuff with armor stands, but we've got the boats in here in the workshop, so things look like they're being worked on, a bunch of tools laying around, and things that they might use to work on and repair the boats that are rented, even though, you never really give them back. Done some more upgrades here as well, just a bit of decorating, some sugar, and maybe tea, and hot cocoa, or coffee, whatever you want to think it is, and places to hang out here, register that will give you cookies, because why not? And, of course, the map. I think it came out pretty well. You can see the whole biome. It's huge. We went for the 1 pixel for every block scale, and there's this little patch of regular taiga in the middle of all the snowy taiga, but we've got the lodge up here and the starting line, through the narrow part there with the water on the edges, the boost and the U-turn, all the way around up through here, past the pillagers. You can only see the redstone. The rails don't get rendered on the map, I guess. Then past the snowman, you can see every individual little pumpkin there. Coming down here to the loop, where you go underneath this and around, jump over, through here, and you're at the frozen ocean. Going up in this, through the tunnels, past the village, through the little narrow gap, and you're just kind of in the trenches through the mountain here as you come up to the finish, where you go through the tunnel under the lodge, and you're out. Now, the bow rental system is kind of magic. Not really, it's just redstone, but it took a lot to get this to work. You'll see, we'll use a bit of free cam here. If I press a button for, let's say, spruce boat. I want a spruce boat. We'll pop in a free cam, and fly over here to the track. You can see by the time it would take me to get down there, we can get a spruce boat at the ready for us. And if we can't decide from this selection here, we can always press this button and just get a random one. Underneath the water elevator here, I've got a way down into the basement, and I'll explain some of the redstone that's going on down here. Each boat above, we can see the wood here, is hooked up with a button to some redstone. That's hooked up to all these stone blocks, and we can see each one of them has an individual input. The ones at the beginning there look a little bit weird, but I'll get into that in a minute. And this is the one for the random button. It just snakes down here, and all of them feed into this one comparator. That's kind of the main deal here. Coming out of the comparator is this big line of repeaters, which is actually a signal strength repeater. Basically, whatever input we put into this comparator will output onto this one. I'll hop in another world and show you how it works. So comparators output the signal strength that they're receiving. 15 in the back, 15 in the front. That's sort of the basic function. There's other stuff they do, but that's what's important here. We want the signal strength to be passed along, so you could use a bunch of comparators in a line like this, or even space it out with dust. So the dust will carry it along and the comparator will just match that. But it adds a redstone tick-up delay per comparator, so that can take a long time over a long distance. But this is a bit faster. We can send it from this comparator all the way to that comparator with just one tick of delay, because it'll go down this redstone line instantly, and just the repeater will have delay. If we have a signal strength of 1 from this book here, it'll come out of this comparator and only power this repeater, which will power this line of 15 redstone dust, so it decays back down to 1 by the end of it. We can bring the signal strength up a little bit, and it'll just bring it down the line. It'll be 5 here, and all of these repeaters will just bring it back up to 15. But because this decays down, at the 5th one, it'll be 15, so it can only decay back down to 5. And we can match the signal strength from that comparator all the way to this comparator in a single redstone tick, instead of, well, however many it would take to send it this distance. So we've got a way to send our signal strength long distances, and we'll keep going from there, but we actually get our signal strength depending on which button we push. So the random one will send the signal down here to a repeater for a signal strength of 15. The next one over, I think it's birch, will give 14, then we can actually get 12 from the next one, and it goes down by 2, until we get a little cramped here at the end, so I had to do some math. Because I needed these last 3 to actually occupy, this one's 4, so it's 3, that just goes straight into here instead of powering the dust. And these ones are 2 and 1. They actually get 1 subtracted from them. We have a comparator with 1 going into the side of a subtractor. It's in subtractor mode because the torch is on, and whatever goes into the side gets subtracted from it. So we just subtract 1 from it, and same on this one, so we can actually scale it down a bit more easily. Now that we have a signal strength, based on which kind of boat we want, we can send it downwards, in a staircase, using a method that we showed before, with a dust, then a comparator, another dust, then a comparator, all the way down to here, where we've got more of these, repeater chains to send the signal along. Down the line here it splits, we'll look at this line later, but this one goes to a decoder so we can actually figure out which button it was we pushed, and send it over to the right dispenser to send out the boat we want. I found an old design from Alex Sandastros. I was just looking for kind of vertical decoders, something pretty compact, and there was this nice one that it actually sends a signal up through the middle here, just using slabs. So each level is an individual signal strength, and you'll see we have a few here at the bottom, and then only 1/2 of them going up the rest of it. It's because we only grab every other value for a bit, and then 3, 2, 1. Like I showed, so we didn't even need part of the pieces here that kind of catch the overflow and figure out exactly what value it is. So if we have, say, this is value 5 or whatever, it goes to this dispenser with some boats at the ready to send out a dark oak boat. And that's what the other line is for after this boat gets sent out. All the boats get dispensed right out into water and aligned up against this wall in the corner here with a slime block. And the random one gets randomized by the dispenser. It shoots out from a random slot, and I just kind of put these in here, kind of dispersed, so it's not really truly random, but it's close enough. And then where it splits down here, we've got a bit of a delay before we hit the slime block launcher, so that the boat has time to flow down there and line up. And there's some more slime blocks up above, so it actually launches it out into place. It gets pushed up and over with some pretty specific timing that for some reason didn't work unless I used this setup with the boat and the pressure plate. So we can see if I were to manually insert a boat like this, it'll get lined up just fine. And this redstone line is powering the piston at the bottom that pushes the slime blocks up. And same line, after some delay, does the pistons at the top to push the boat over. And if we extend this redstone line over, it shouldn't make any difference how it gets powered from this pressure plate or this redstone line. They're just turning on, right? Like, there's no added delay or anything happening between this piston and that piston. However we power it, we power it. So I'm gonna put the button here. And if I go in the free cam, we can look at the boat from here. And press the button. It doesn't work. But if, for some reason, the redstone's connected up here to the pressure plate, and that's what activates it, we'll go back into free cam, and look at it again, press the button, it works just fine. It needs a thing hitting the pressure plate. I don't understand. But it works, I guess. Figuring out that quirk was one of the weirdest redstone moments I've ever had. And we've got this little area up here just kind of warning people to stand back. But I absolutely love this. It's something I wanted to do as soon as I thought of having the kind of rental shop in the lodge there. I was like, what else normally goes in like ski and snowboard lodges? Rental shops and little workshops for them. So I figured a vending machine would be a perfect way to go. Pick out your boat, show up on the course. I think it's a lot of fun. Oh yeah, and that mob switch I mentioned earlier, that's not happening. It doesn't really work on servers. I would need to get hundreds of zombie villagers laid out. So we're just gonna deal with mobs on the course. There shouldn't be any, because they don't spawn on ice, and we're not on the course long enough to let a creeper blow up anyway. And before we actually run the course, I'll talk about the podium here. I still need to get the player heads, now that we can do that. When we updated to 1.21, we added the ability for that. But only a few of us have ran it so far. This is the course. You can actually add emojis now, which is awesome. So you can decorate books up with that and signs as well. I've got my time in there with the record and some of the runner-ups. We got Flexicon and pairs of 2 socks. And after the course best, we've got personal bests. You can keep track of your own record and some of your previous ones. I have even older ones, but they're probably visible in stream VODs. I did a lot of running this course and testing it on stream. Pairs of 2 socks ran through it once. Flexicon ran through it once. I made them because I needed some more people on the leaderboard. The other book over here keeps track of the reverse lap record book. Because, like I said, you can do it backwards. You just have to take that little powdered snow wall through the loop, because otherwise you can't do it. So you actually end up cutting the loop out entirely, which saves some time. I think my best 322 here is, yeah, not too far off from our forward lap, and I've only really done the backward lap a few times. Let's see. Yeah, I've literally only done it twice. So there's definitely time to save. Around back, I also got a way for us to head back home. There's a portal that leads up onto the nether roof so we can get out of here, and another little campfire area. So I think we're gonna sit down and get ready to race this course. Not a new record, but a dang good lap. We'll see you next time. Peace.